Hey Splat Gang, so Nintendo has just released the patch notes for the mid-season balance update for Splatoon 3's fresh season. There's a lot to check out in this update, so let's jump right into this and see all of the changes that Nintendo has made. Starting us off, they say there'll be some changes to DLC, added some data related to Inkopolis during the Splatfest. This is the new music. I believe they needed to add this update before the Splatfest happened, so that the music could actually be heard. It wasn't currently in the game. We saw this tweeted about by Oatmeal Dome, for example. So yes, this is now finally fixed. But there are also some changes to Splatfest that I wasn't quite expecting, but I think this seems like a really big positive. Added a song that will play during Splatfest battles and Tricolor Turf Wars. This song will play whether or not the player has downloaded the DLC. And here is the positive change: adjusted the points awarded for each category during the Splatfest final results. So Nintendo, I think, is hoping to make things feel a little bit fairer here, so that it doesn't feel like things are just decided from the very start at half time. I definitely think this is a good idea, honestly, just some nice little changes. And some of these are pretty significant as well, as you can see, so I honestly feel like this is a good step forward. Not all of them have changed, as you can see, but some of them have changed quite a bit, like look at Tricolor Battle. So yeah, I definitely think that is a good thing, honestly. Changes to multiplayer. Specifications for some weapons have changed, so here's what you've all been waiting for. Movement speed while firing is now about 10% faster. Ink splatter will now fall around the player's feet more easily. Lunar Blaster and Lunar Blaster Neo increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 70% damage for about 50%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 50/0 damage. Big Swig Roller. And adjusted the damage fallout based on vertical swing distance, making the amount of damage fall off more gradually than before. Due to this change, the distance where 100 plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 15%, and the distance where 50 plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 49% damage. Snipe Rider 5H. Maximum damage has been increased from 60 to 68. Now for the Slosher and Slosher Deco. Adjusted the damage fall off rate when a player attacks someone vertically lower than them, making it more difficult for damage to decrease. Due to this change, the maximum amount of damage dealt to an opponent will be 50. Mini Splatling and Zinc Mini Splatling. Increase firing duration by roughly 17%. Dapple Julies and Dapple Julies Nouveau. Shorten the amount of time it takes for a player to be able to act after a dodge roll by roughly 0.06 seconds. Splat Julies increase the dodge roll movement speed, shortening the amount of time it takes to move by roughly 0.06 seconds. And finally, Reflux 450 made the angle of diffusion narrower depending on the amount of charge, making it easier to focus on attacking a single area. Movement speed while charging is now about 10% faster. So definitely let me know in the comment section what you think about these changes to weapons. Which ones are you really happy about? Are there any in particular that you're not so fond of here? To me, most of these seem pretty positive. They almost all seem like buffs to me, although I might be missing something here. I'm not an expert on the weapons, so definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Now we have the sub-weapons. Angle Shooter roughly doubled the radius of the ink splatter that occurs when it hits terrain. Burst Bomb increased the amount of ink consumed from a standard tank from 40% to 45% if the player doesn't have the Ink Saver sub ability equipped. The amount of ink consumed when the maximum number of abilities equipped will not change. Now here is something that a lot of people are going to be waiting for. Specifications for some special weapons have changed, and there are some really interesting changes in here. Ink Vac. Increase the radius of the outer perimeter when vacuuming up ink by roughly 10% to cover a larger area than before. Tacticooler. Increase the initial setup speed when throwing the Tacticooler by roughly 33% to enable it to set up farther than before. Roughly doubled the horizontal radius of the area where players can drink a beverage. Reef Slider. Increase the amount of damage dealt from 60 to 70 when getting caught in an explosion at long range, and increase the radius of that area by roughly 17%. Increase the radius of the ink splatter from explosion by roughly 21%. So I used a Reef Slider quite a lot, and these seem like pretty positive changes to me. It's not exactly what I wanted to see from the Reef Slider though, honestly, but I do think any changes to make it feel a little bit more powerful is still a good thing. Right now though, to me personally, the problem feels like the Reef Slider just gets killed way too easily when you're in it. It feels like you literally just have no protection at all, and you're just instantly dead anytime you set it up. But maybe these changes will help make it feel just a little bit more powerful. I don't really know, I'm gonna have to see how it plays now. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see something at least. Inkjet. Increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 50 damage by roughly 43%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 30 damage. Strengthen the jet of ink that comes out when pressing B, enabling players to jump higher than before. Ultra Stamp. Increase the radius of the area where a player can be damaged from the shockwaves of continuous stamp attacks by roughly 43%. Improve the turning performance when doing continuous stamp attacks, making it easier to change direction. When doing continuous stamp attacks, the stamp will now be displayed as translucent on the user's screen, making it easier for them to see where they're going. So I know a lot of people have really wanted to see some improvements to the Ultra Stamp, and these ones seem pretty good to me. I'm not an expert though, like I said, so please let me know if you're an Ultra Stamp user down in the comments section. Let me know what you think about these changes. Crab Tank. Introduce an interval where players cannot attack for roughly 0.33 seconds after returning from attack mode from mobile mode. Increase the amount of time it takes for players to act again after the special ends. So a slight little nerf there to the Crab Tank. Kraken Royale also got some nerfs. Made it easier for a player to be pushed back by an enemy attack in tower control mode when the player is on the tower. Made it so a player will drop all of their clams and power clams when they use this special in Clam Blitz mode. So quite a big nerf there in Clam Blitz, which is interesting. I feel like people will be pretty happy about this one, although I have seen others calling for the Kraken Royale not to get nerfed at all. I suppose these don't affect every single mode though, but they are positive changes in my opinion for the two modes where it has been nerfed. Maybe there's more that could be done with some of these specials, I'm sure people will agree, but it does seem like mostly positive changes this time around. It feels like they're listening a little bit more than they have in the past, so I'm really happy to see a lot of these changes, and I'd love to hear what you think about them down in the comments section. Specifications for some gear abilities have changed. Sub-resistance up. Damage from burst bombs and fizzy bombs will be reduced more than before, even with just a few gear abilities. The damage reduction from equipping the maximum gear abilities will not change. Opening Gambit. If the player splats or assists in splatting an enemy while this gear ability is in effect, the effect will now be extended by roughly 15 seconds instead of the roughly 7.5 seconds. Made it so that the intensify action gear ability will also occur when this gear ability is in effect. The update is equivalent to 3.0 gear abilities. Points required for some special weapons have been changed. Carbon Roller Deco, 200 to 190, and .96 Gal Deco to 200 to 210. The sound effects for an opponent's Kraken Royale are now easier to hear from a distance. So another slight nerf, I guess, to the Kraken Royale. This isn't really a big one, but still I'm sure a lot of people could find it really useful to find it easier to hear this. Changes to Salmon Run. Made the interval between touching a golden egg and being able to use it roughly the same for all players. By adjusting the animation speed when a golden egg goes into a non-host player's life ring, the interval between touching a golden egg and being able to use it is now roughly the same for the host and non-host players. However, if the communication delays exceed a certain level, the timing may not be the same as the host player. Interesting change here for Salmon Run. I feel like this is a problem a lot of us have noticed with the golden eggs, so I'm glad that they have finally addressed this, as this is something that has bothered me for a really long time. Now their final notes. This update focuses on adding Splatfest data, adjusting Splatfest points, and making tweaks to online multiplayer. For Splatfest points, adjustments to the halftime report should make it feel less like the winning team has already been decided. For main weapons, changes should highlight the unique traits of weapons and strengthen certain combinations of sub and special weapons. For sub-weapons, the changes should create more ways to use certain sub-weapons, as well as curtail strategies that employ the repetitive use of certain sub-weapons. For special weapons, we have reviewed and made adjustments to the performance of each special weapon now that the usage of special weapons new to Splatoon 3 is better established. For the new special Kraken Royale, its basic abilities are unchanged, but it has been adjusted in certain modes to reduce unfavourable circumstances. For Salmon Run, the changes should ensure that lag will be minimal no matter which system is the host. It's possible that selection of the host system for wireless play in any or all game modes may change, either by adding a feature or improving communication efficiency. Therefore, we're taking steps to minimize lag regardless of which system is the host. We plan on releasing the next update at the end of the current season. It'll focus primarily on balance, adjustments, adding features for the new season starting in June. So yes, it's going to be a little while until we see the next update. This is our mid-season balance patch. It just came a lot sooner, which I do think is a positive, honestly, given that waiting right until the middle of the season for some of these changes feels like a bit of a long wait sometimes when you really want to see certain things fixed and adjusted. So yeah, pretty good update overall. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear. If you made it to the end, be sure to comment Upgate Gang down below so I know you did, and if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. If you want to support my content, consider becoming a member by clicking the join button or the link in the description. You can get some exclusive perks for doing so, like emojis, a badge by your name, and you even get featured at the end of my videos.